You know that before we begin our class, there is one thing that the Prophet asked us to make dua to increase. The Prophet never asked us to make dua to increase in wealth or to increase in other things, but he asked us to make dua to increase in knowledge. Rabbi zidni ilman. So in terms of knowledge, asking for more knowledge is commendable, is sunnah. So we should always Rabbi zidni ilman, for Allah, please increase in me knowledge. Please increase in me. So we have to always ask Allah to increase us in knowledge. This is the sunnah. Okay? As for other increase, it's up to you. You can make dua, but the dua that Allah or the Prophet recommends for you is to increase in knowledge and also increase in iman, of course. Bismillah. So now we have come to, I believe this is going to be the last class, unfortunately or fortunately. For some of you who might get bored. So we have started since 5th of September 2018, and it has been almost a year now, nearly a year. I just got through the course outline and I said, wow, we have managed to sustain for a year. So alhamdulillah, so this is going to be the last class, so inshallah, and I hope you have benefited something from this class. And so we begin by this page number 42. If we have the textbook, you can refer to the textbook here. And I will read briefly for the barakah of this. قال Imam Al-Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala ونفعنا به المطلوب بدارين آمين. Ayyuhal walad, inni ansahuka bisamaniyyati ashya' iqbalha minni la illa yakuna 'ilmuka hasman 'alayka yawm al-qiyamah. تعمل منها أربعة وتدع منها أربعة أما اللواتي تدع. O disciple, I advise you about 8 things. 8 things. Accept them from me, lest your knowledge become a liability for you. On the day of resurrection, accomplish 4 of them and give up 4. As for the ones to give up, then it goes on. وأحدها ألا تناظر أحدا في مسألة ما استطعت. This is basically what Imam Ghazali mentions here, and you can benefit from it. I have summarized those that he mentions here, but we read it so that you can go through the text, and the points are mentioned there, so you don't have to rewrite it or anything. Just maybe you can jot your notes later. The first of them is that you do not argue. Okay? The first point, you do not argue with anyone regarding any issue, insofar as you are able, since there is much that is harmful in it, and its evil is greater than its utility. For it is the origin of every ugly trait, such as insincerity, envy, haughtiness, resentment, enmity, boastfulness, and so on. Certainly, if an issue arises between you and an individual or a group, and your intention in regard to it is that the truth become known and not lost sight of, discussion is allowed you. However, there are 2 indications of this intention. The first is that you make no distinction between the truth being disclosed on your tongue or that of someone else. The second is that discussion in private will be preferable to you than in public. I think I'm going to read them all and then I explain to you. Listen, I will mention to you something useful at this juncture. Otherwise, understand that questioning about difficulty is, as it were, showing the sickness of the heart to a doctor, and replying to it is an attempt to cure the sickness. Know that the ignorant are the sick at heart, and the knowledgeable are the doctors. The man of inadequate knowledge is not expert in nursing, nor will the wholly knowledgeable man treat every patient. Instead, he will treat whoever longs to get treatment and health. If the sickness is chronic or incurable, the expertise of the doctor in regard to it is to state that it is incurable, and he will not concern himself with treating it, since it would waste his time. Next, know that the disease of ignorance are four kinds. The first of them is curable, and the rest is incurable. As for what is incurable, the first is someone whose questioning or arguing it is out of his envy and hate. Whenever you answer him with the best, clearest, or most evident reply, it only increases him in hate, hostility, and envy. The modus operandi is not to engage in replying to him. It has been said, an end may be hoped for every hostility, but he who has hostile to you through envy. Though you should turn away from him and leave him with his sickness, God the Exalted said, turn away from whoever holds back from remembering us wants nothing but the life of the world. The envious man, in whatever he says and does, sets fire to the crop of his deed. As the Prophet ﷺ said, envy devours good deeds as fire devours wood. So, we stop there first. So Imam Ghazali mentioned here 8 things. 8 things. There are 8 things. You know, Imam Ghazali, throughout this, he gave us a lot of advice. If you look at here, we have 24, 23, okay, 22 already. And this is the 23rd and 24th. So in here there are 4 things we should do and 4 things we should not do. Do's and don'ts. Okay, but he began with the don'ts first. Don'ts and the first one is don't argue. This is the first thing Imam Ghazali. The first thing is you don't argue with people. I mentioned here, if you look at point number 6 here, the first do is don't argue with people. Okay, because argue with people is, Imam Ghazali says, more harmful. Why? Because argue with people will create what he says here, ugly character, insincerity. You argue, why you argue with people in the first place? Why you want to argue with people? Sorry? Sorry?
Ego.
Yeah, ego, exactly. This is because of your ego. You argue because of your ego. What ego is that? You want to win, right? You want to win in your argument. That is the ego that you have. You want to win the argument. Win the argument, win the debate, the disputation. This is not correct. This is not correct. And from this argument, what comes out of it? Enmity, right? Enmity, gaduh, hostility, bermusuh, right? You think that after you argue with someone that it goes back as normal? No, it won't. So whenever you argue with someone, it always ends up with hostility, enmity. Gaduh, bermusuh, bermasalah. So what else? Haughtiness, same thing, ego, haughtiness. Same thing. You argue with people because you think you are smarter, right? You don't argue with people if you don't think you are smart. Right? Do you argue with people that you think you're going to lose? You don't argue. You argue because you know that I'm smarter than her. So you argue. You try to defeat him or her. Argue. So Imam Ghazali said, you know, when you listen for Imam Ghazali, who at his initial stage, at his youth, he was a debater and he won in all debates. And because of that, he was given the name Hujjatul Islam, the proof of Islam. Because whenever he entered into debate, he would win the debate. But at the end of his life, when he wrote this Ihya, and when he wrote this Ayyuhal, he said, don't argue. Strange, isn't it? Why? Because during his young, he said, I discovered that all this while what I've been doing is not sincere for the sake of Allah. You know that if you studied his life, you discovered that when he was at his peak, he suddenly decided to resign from the Nizamiyah, from the professorship, and went for seclusion, for Uzla, to Syria and to Palestine and for Hajj. He told his university, Nizamiyah, Madrasah Nizamiyah, I'm going for Hajj. But the rest, he went for Hajj, true, but at the same time, he was seeking for the higher truth. He was seeking for higher truth. So, he said, he contemplated what I want to achieve all this life. He was at the peak, then he realized that what I've been doing all this while is just to get fame, to be known, to be famous. So because of that, when you read what he said, don't argue with people, someone who won international debate, world debate championship, then you know why it's so harmful to be in this stage, right? Not someone who is not a debater, not a former coach. If a kampung boy said this, then you don't know, right? But this is the world championship debate. He said, don't debate. Because it is you debate because of the insincerity. You are not sincere. You are not sincere. It is very, very difficult for you to keep sincerity when you debate. It's very difficult. But he gave the condition. Yes, you can debate. He gave the condition, the exception to the rule. Exception. But as for the general rule, don't argue. For the general rule, or we say default, by default, don't argue. Avoid arguing. Tak payah gaduh, tak payah cari gaduh. Waste time. Khalas. Just leave. By default. But, he says, but, however, there are two. However, if you have to debate with people, there are two indications. There are two things that you have to take into consideration. First one is, your intention must be for the truth. Al-Haq. There you see number 6A1 there. 6A. You debate for, exception is you debate for Haq. For truth. When you have to debate with people, you must have a very clear intention in your heart. Why I argue with him? You must not have the intention of winning over him. Not at all. or not the intention that you want to show off that you are smart, you're excellent, you memorize hadith. Oh, what book? The books that you mentioned, I read cover to cover. That's arrogant, right? No, your hadith was wrong. The hadith was the correct hadith. Yes, that kind of attitude here. Imam Ghazali says, if you have to argue with people, if you have to debate with people, make sure the intention is to seek for the truth. And this is what happened in the past. If you look at the past, history of the Muslims in the past, they did argue, they did debate, but not for these things. They debate for the truth. Imam Shafi'i said, I mentioned that, Imam Shafi'i said, Ma jadaltu ahadan illa ma I think you mentioned it, right? I don't debate with people except that I want Allah yudhhirahullahu al-haq ala lisanihi duni. Except that I want the truth to be revealed from his tongue, not mine. I don't argue with people, I don't debate with people, except that I want the truth to come up from his tongue, not from me. Because what? They are debating for the truth. Imam Ghazali says, if you debate with someone, the intention is just like you and your debater and your opponent are looking for some missing things. You've lost something, you have lost something, and you and your opponents both are together searching for the missing things, for the lost items. And if he found it, you should be thankful. So the lost thing is the truth. Whoever found the truth is not important. What is more important is the truth is found. Whether you found the truth or he found the truth, it doesn't matter. But you are looking for the truth. So this is the argument. So if you are debating with someone, make sure you debate it for the truth. And the last one, the two conditions, you have to debate it in time. Why? Why? Because you want to keep the sincerity, the intention. Imagine you debate here and we have the audience like this. Don't you feel that you want to show up? You want to show off. People are watching live every day. You know how many millions people are watching? For example, 1 million people are watching every Azim. So you debate, try to show off. Be at your best. No. Bring him, sit down with you, one-to-one in a room, and you can debate until morning. Because what you are looking is for? Secondly, when you debate in public like this, and those who watch the debate, they are the general people, the public, and they have limited knowledge. They don't understand what you argue, and you might have misunderstood them, because what you are talking is not at the level of ordinary. It's high. So don't know. The second thing Imam Ghazali said, what Imam Ghazali says here? Okay. Second thing Imam Ghazali said, listen, I will, okay, and then Imam Ghazali mentioned, this is a side point. This is the side point Imam Ghazali mentioned. Why? When he talks about debate or argumentation, disputation, he mentioned also the type of people that always want to debate with you, or the type of people that always ask you a question. So he mentioned about ignorant people. Imam Ghazali said, is it correct? Ignorance like that? Imam Ghazali says there are how many types of ignorant people? 4 types. The first one, or the first 3, incurable. And only one is curable. Imam Ghazali likens those the sick people, the ignorant people, like those who are sick. Imam Ghazali samakan orang yang jahil seperti mana orang sakit. Sakit, when someone is sick, he went to see a doctor. The doctor would say, oh, your disease is at stage 4, no hope, cannot be cured. So just say, cannot be cured, don't waste time. So khalas. So if the disease is curable, then try to cure it. Likewise, for ignorant, for jahil people, there are three types that cannot be cured, but one can be cured. The first ignorance, or the first one, is the one that asks questions out of envy and hate. So he asks you questions, not because he wants to know, not because he doesn't know, but he asks you out of envy, out of hatred. So this is incurable. The more you answer, the clear example you give to them, they just ignore it because they would accept it, because they have this problem of envy inside them. It's incurable, cannot be. The second thing Imam Ghazali says, the second type is, what is second type? Foolish. Okay? The second type is foolishness. Foolishness is foolish. He's foolish. The problem is this foolish people. He thinks that he's smart. Ni orang kata apa? Bodoh sombong. So this foolish, he thinks he's smart. So he poses questions. He thinks the question is a very difficult question, but actually the question is not very difficult. But the question is very simple, and the answer is there. He says that he could not understand. Because he could not accept, he could not grasp it, because he's foolish. But he thinks he's the question was very sophisticated and very complex. But when the scholar answered it, he feels that the question is still not answered because of his foolishness. Do you understand it? Because he's foolish. Okay. The third one is unintelligent. Unintelligent is quite different from foolish. Unintelligent is someone that the mentality is low. Foolishnya dia bodoh. Intelligent ni dia tak sampai akal. No, it can be like, for example, it can be like children. No, different. Children, they are not foolish. Children, they are not foolish. But their intelligence has not reached that stage. You understand? For example, children ask, how come baby be inside mother's womb? Why adik dalam perut mak? Macam mana adik masuk dalam perut mak? You can explain, you see? Can you explain? You can explain. It's not that he's foolish, but that level does not reach a certain maturity, certain intelligent point. You can explain. It's not foolish, but unintelligent. The level of intelligence doesn't reach him or her yet. So he said, adik besar dia faham lah. Nanti abang besar abang faham lah. So it's like you explain to orang kampung, for example, or uneducated people, water is made up of H2O. You think people can understand? Orang kampung or uneducated, non-chemical people, they don't understand. If you study chemistry, then you know. But if you study, you don't know. Gravity is 9.8, right? Speed. So this unintelligent also, because of that, we have like, for example, a prophetic hadith. Khatabun nas ala qadri aqulihim. The Prophet says, whenever you speak to someone, speak at the level of intelligence. You don't speak to them at the level of very high. For example, when I talk to you, I'm trying to not talking very philosophical. Even if you look at the examples I give you, sometimes very mundane examples, very simple examples, so that you can grasp easily. I don't give example very philosophical, metaphysical example, philosophical which you might not be able to understand. Simple, so that everyone can understand. But I cannot go lower than that. Otherwise, yeah. So whenever we talk, we have to speak according to that intelligent level. And the last one, this is the ignorance that we can rely on or we can answer. Okay? As for these three, Imam Ghazali says, ignore them. Don't argue with them. Don't answer them. It's going to be a waste of time. But this one, yes. Because he asks you out of curiosity. He wants to know. He wants to seek guidance. Okay? So this is the one. Have I read that one? I have not. Okay, I should read this one. Listen, I will mention to you something useful at this juncture. Understand the question about it. Showing the sickness of the. I read this one just now already. Thus you should turn away from him and leave him with his sickness. God themselves turn away from whoever holds back from admiring us and wants nothing but the life of the world. The envious man in whatever he says, and he does satisfy to the crops of his deed. As the Prophet said, envy devours good, this as the fire devours good. This is what we actually mentioned about envy people. The second has foolishness as his sickness. We mentioned about foolishness. And he too is incurable. As Jesus said, verily I was not incapable of bringing the dead to life, but I was incapable of curing the sick. Even Jesus, Nabi Isa said, with the permission of Allah, I can bring dead to life, but I cannot bring foolish people to understand it. Very possible. Even Imam Ghazali said, Imam Shafi'i says, whenever I debate, whenever I argue with scholars, I would win the debate. Whenever I argue with scholars, I would win with the debate. But whenever I argue with foolish people, I lost. Why? Because foolish people, they don't have rules. If you play football with them, they keep on changing the goalpost. When you score a goal, if goalpost keeps on changing, they move here and there. So that's why Imam Ghazali said, whenever I argue with foolish people, I lost. But whenever I argue with alim, I will. What? Because of that, foolish people, they don't have rules, they don't have logics. So the third is someone who is asking for guidance, and everything he does not understand in this discussion of the great scholar is put down by him to the shortcoming of his own knowledge, and his questioning is to learn. However, he is unintelligent and does not grasp reality. This is what sister you asked just now. So he does not grasp reality. Thus, we should not engage in him, answering him either. So, we, the assemblies of the prophets, have been commanded to address men in proportion to their intellects. This is what the prophet says. We, the people, are commanded to talk to people according to their intellect. As for the sickness which is curable, it is that someone asking for guidance, who is intelligent, understanding, not overwhelmed by envy, anger, the love of reputation, prestige, wealth, being a seeker of the straight path, and whose questioning and querying are not out of envy, obstinacy, or desire to test. The man is curable and is permissible to engage in reply to his question. In fact, replying to him is obligatory for you. You know, there are people who desire to test. Ni pun ada juga. You ask me because you want to test my knowledge. You want to test my knowledge. That's Islam. Imam Ghazali said, don't ask your teacher to test his knowledge. Don't ask. And if you observe that he asking you for the sake of testing your knowledge, just ignore him or don't entertain. Okay? So we come to the second point. The second thing is to give up is that you are on your guard against becoming a preacher or admonition. Okay. This is one interesting point here. And I believe many people will not find it strange. you know that this class is about. This class is about heart. About heart. Imam Ghazali is concerned about heart. Not your heart yang ini, I love you. Not this heart. When we talk about heart, it is spiritual heart. And this is in Arabic we always term as hope. So all this while, for almost a year we have been talking, we have been concerned, not with your physical body. I don't care your physical body. I'm not selling cosmetics. So we are more concerned about heart, our spiritual heart. And this book is nothing but heart. And when you are talking about heart, everything about heart, everything about Islam goes to, you have taqwa. When Allah says, be taqwa. Where taqwa is? Is it taqwa on your nose? On your ears? On your mouth? Taqwa is? Yeah. When Allah said, be sincere, where is sincere? Where is sincere? Everything goes to heart, to your spiritual heart. So this is what Imam Ghazali is very concerned. Don't be envious. Don't have hatred, hasad, takabbur. All these goes. So now Imam Ghazali talks about the second thing to give up is don't be a preacher or admonition. Preacher and admonition. Do you know why Imam Ghazali used differently? Whereas, admonition, preacher ni sama je, berubah je. Tapi admonition normally talks or warns you. More of warning, admonition. Be careful. You are going to die. What is your life after death? This is admonition. how are you going to face the angel of death? Do you think that you can succeed in the grave when Munkar and Nakir comes? So all these are admonition. Imam Al-Ghazali says, don't be an admonition, don't be a preacher. But if you have to, then mention those things that I mentioned. Why? Because Imam Ghazali doesn't want us. He says, unless, okay, should finish this one. Give up God is becoming a preacher or admonisher, for it involves much harm unless you first practice what you preach. Okay? You practice what you preach, then preach it to people. So if you want to be an admonisher, you want to be a preacher, then you must first practice what you preach. Tapi Imam Ghazali pun letak kat sini a few things that you have to mention. You have to. If you are put to test with the occupation, maknanya apa? Maknanya tiba-tiba you diminta untuk to become the preacher. No, if you have like myself, I have a job. No, I'm not a preacher. I'm not a pendakwah bebas, so-called, right? Because I have a job, I try to avoid teaching because I'm afraid this is what I'm afraid. I'm afraid of telling you to do something that I myself don't do. You know, I don't teach schools, I don't teach madrasa, but lately people keep on asking, and I told my wife it's high time perhaps I have to say something. First thing, because not I want to tell you that I'm better than you or have knowledge. I think by telling people about this thing, it strengthens me to do it. It gives me strength, motivates me to do what I'm telling you. Even though when I speak to you, I myself have not done it. When I thought that we should pray tahajjud, don't think that I pray tahajjud every night. I'm just reading the book. I'm just conveying what the author says. When I say we don't have envy, control our ghadab, anger, don't think that I have control myself. The best person to know who I am is my wife at the back there. You know, he is my secret keeper. He knows everything about me. You cannot hide it from her. I cannot hide it. So he knows, or she knows. So whenever I tell something, whenever I speak here, I have the intention of Allah, please give me strength, whatever I mentioned here. That's why we make dua every time we start our class. Rabbana Allah Muftah, Allah Ma'alimna Ma. Oh Allah, this gives us ability to practice what we learn. That's our speech. Okay? And remember, whenever you preach to someone something and you don't do it, kabura maqtan. The wrath of Allah is great. Allah says, Ya Ayyuhal, Surah As-Saf, you can do the Quran, Surah As-Saf, ayat number 2. Ya Ayyuhalladhina amanu, wa all the believers, lima taqulu ma la taf'alun. Lima taqulu ma la taf'alun. Why you mention, why you talk, why you invite someone, something, to do something that you yourself don't do it? Kabura maqtan indallahi an taqulu ma la taf'alun. Great wrath of Allah to someone who tells people to do something that he himself don't do it. This is so to soft. You can look at it. Kabura maqtan indallahi an taqulu. So whenever we speak, whenever we tell something, try first to put it into practice. But if you don't put it into practice, make the intention that try your best to do it. So, my dear brothers and sisters, whenever I speak here, all this one, don't think that I'm good. Don't think that I'm perfect. If you have a shed, then maybe I'm not a shed. I'm just ordinary person like you. Okay, so Imam Ghazali says, practice what you preach. But if you are put to test with this occupation, you dah tak ada kerja, or your job is to give people, like for example, government appoints you to be mubalik, to be guru masjid or whatever, then you are in that position. You don't want to become to be like that, but you are in that position. Then Imam Ghazali said, there are a few things you have to mention here. You have to remember. First, he said, first is pretentious in talking by way of idiot. Don't be pretentious. Pretentious. You know pretentious? Pura-pura, mengada-ngada, ayat membelit-belit. So he says here, just like someone, I escaped this one. I found it here. Okay, here. The idea, okay. He said, he's giving an example here, like for example, fire. At the back there, I think I'm not going to read the whole thing. We don't have much time. So he said, when you give advice to people, don't be pretentious. Whether you are admonisher or you are teacher. Pretentious, ngada-ngada ataupun belagak ataupun mengayat kan, tak sama dengan mengayat. You imagine that you are trying to save people from fire, for example. The house is burning or floods coming. You don't go and say, oh Adinda, bangunlah sekarang kita belayar. You don't do that, right? Or you berpantun-pantun or bersajak-sajak. You don't do that. That's not the way. He doesn't want to be pretentious. You understand? Jangan ada you bersajak, you belagak, you berpuisi. Straight to the point. Fire! Run! That's what it says. Api, lari, run, quickly. You don't go and berpantun-pantun, lautan api sambil turun. You don't do that. You don't do that. So you have to be straight to the point. What you want to tell, straight to the point. And then he mentioned about pretentious. And then he mentioned about admonishers. Okay? When you're talking about admonish, so there are things that you have to mention. I listed down here. You can just put it very quickly here. What are the criteria? What are the things that when you become admonisher? Number 7 there. You recollect the life of the hereafter. You recollect, record, warn them. Life of the hereafter. You just recall them. You have to have this. You are not considered as giving admonition if you don't have this. Kadang-kadang orang ceramah ni banyak gelak, tahu kan, jadi tidak menimbulkan keinsafan. At the end of your talk, you feel nothing. Just like attending a joker or a clown. No, that's not religious teaching. Religious teaching, if you come out from that class or that course, you feel this thing. You feel longing for the hereafter. You feel, oh, how I'm going to face death. You have that feeling in you. I'm going, oh, painful. The death is so painful. Oh Allah, please help me. Oh Allah, I have missed so many things in my life. I have been disobedient to you throughout my life. Please forgive me, Ya Allah. This is admonition. Whenever we come out from any religious talk, we should have that feeling in our heart. That we feel regret. We feel that we have wasted our time all this while for being disobedient to Allah. This is admonition. Admonisher. A job of admonisher. Wise. admonish, to warn. You feel that, oh, how are we in the hereafter? And there are so many people, huge people, so many people. My actions will be revealed, will be exposed. And all my actions that I did behind, no one see, now everyone will see it. How I'm going to survive when the sun is just above the head. People, the Prophet says, some people are drowning, some people are swimming in the sea of sweat. How am I going to survive this thing? This is, this kind of feeling, and you feel that, oh, I'm going to die. I'm going to stay alone in grave. No one. I'm afraid of darkness. How am I going to survive in that small hole in grave? So this thing is a job of wise admonisher to instill into the audience. You don't instill in the audience jokes and laughter. Sometimes here and there, okay, not too much. You have to have this kind. So another job is preacher. Preacher is slightly different. Preacher is slightly different. Look at that number C there. Muzakkir or tazkir of that. So whenever you be a preacher, if you have to be a preacher, don't have the intention that you want people to praise you. Oh, tonight, alhamdulillah, we have full house here, 1,000 people come. Or people come and say, how Al-Ghazali says, yeah, so Imam Al-Ghazali says, what a gathering, page 15. What a gathering that was. And people show hysteria and tear their clothes and oh, mashallah. No, you don't want that. Imam Al-Ghazali said, don't do that. During our time here, brothers and sisters, you don't see many people attend talks, right? You go to Indonesia. If you go to Indonesia, thousands and maybe millions people attending a talk. 1 million, I don't know, it's true or not. So huge people. So Imam Ghazali says, that is not your intention to have many people attending your gathering. Even if 1 or 2 people attend, that's fine. Your intention is to give them, to mention them, love of the area. Not that you want people to, I have 1 million Facebook followers. No, that's not your intention. So, what is the muzakkir? You must lead men from world to hereafter. This is the job. People attend the class, people listen to you, not that they become more greedy to the world. I have to find more wealth. Just like attending the MLM programs. People attending religious, they feel like they want to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as soon as possible. They are longing to go back to Jannah. Because they feel that this is not the place for them, permanent place. They want to go back. So they are preparing themselves to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the thing that you have to do. From recalcitrant to obedient. Recalcitrant ni keras kepala. Again. Obstinance. Keras. To obedience. Daripada yang tak taat, keras kepada ketaatan. From stinginess to generosity. People attending your class, attending your talk, they become more generous. Not that they become more stingy. If they become more stingy, there's something wrong with you. After attending your class, people more stingy. Astaghfirullah. So you should be more generous. From doubt to certainty. Previously, before they entered, before they listened to you, they were in doubt. Now they feel certainty. They feel happiness. They feel tranquility. The tranquility inside their heart. Allah. Peace, inshallah. I've never tasted this peace. Tranquility. You know, tranquility, I've not discussed with you. There are differences when you talk about happiness, kebahagiaan. When you talk about kegembiraan, joy. Two different things. One is more of sensual. You gembira. Gembira is sensual. Sense. Seronok is senses. Seronok ni mata, seronok ni seronok, lidah seronok, perasaan seronok. But when you bahagia, that is more lasting. Because it is the heart that bahagia. The heart that bahagia. You know, people go for clubbing, If they don't feel bahagia, don't say that they are bahagia. What they get is seronok. They get seronok. It's a very temporary, it's very superficial, and it is sensual. You know sensual? Sensual. Sensual from the word senses. External senses. You have the senses, right? So this is sensual. So basically, when you are enjoy, seronok, this is sensual. But tranquility, sa'adah, is something intimate, something spiritual. So this is what we want. So we want to have that kind of feeling. Loathing for the world, love for the afterworld, teach worship and asceticism. Don't be complacent due to Allah's kindness. Sometimes people feel complacent. Complacent ni maknanya take for granted. Okay, alhamdulillah, nanti dekat nak mati kita taubat. So have this kind of feeling. Allah Maha Pemurah, okay je. So don't have that kind of feeling. Allah Maha Pengampun je, muda sekali. So all these things should not come. Okay? So I'm not going to read because if I read then it takes time. But I have listed a point here. What else that I've not touched here? And then Imam Ghazali says, the third thing is to give up. Is that you have nothing to do with princes and rulers, nor see them because the spectacle of them getting with them and socializing with them are very serious danger. If you are put to test by this, avoid praising them and complimenting them. For God the exalted is angered if a wrongdoer or tyrant is praised, and whoever prays for their long life wants God to be disobeyed on his earth. You look at here, if you read on your own, then you might get misunderstood. Why? Because Imam Ghazali said, if you have nothing to do with princes and rulers, then you think, tak boleh baikkan kerajaan dengan raja ke whatever. If you go through and you read carefully, or if you read with the teacher, then you realize that he said that angered, wrongdoer or tyrant is praised. So what does it mean? Not all rulers, not all princes. You look at the Arabic, Iza mudihal fasiqu wal-zalim. Maknanya apa? Rulers yang fasik, rulers yang jahat, rulers yang zalim, yang baik. So try to avoid yourself from being with rulers who are zalim, with people. Jangan dekat, jangan berkawan. Sebab he is talking about scholars here, by the way. He's not talking about ordinary people, these are scholars. The murid, the student, the disciple that asked him is a scholar. A scholar. So try to avoid yourself from being close to rulers. The tyrant rulers, not ordinary rulers. If the rulers are good, then perhaps you can be close to them to advise them. But if the rulers are evil rulers, tyrant rulers, don't get close to them. Don't associate yourself with them. And if you have to be in that position, then please don't praise them. Jangan puji dia. Jangan doa kepada dia, ya Allah, dah panjang kalau raja ni, padahal raja tu zalim. Allah Ta'ala will get angry at you. Okay. The second is sorry. I think mana dah kita ni? Okay, sorry. The fourth is to give up is to accept nothing of benefaction or princes nor their present, even if you know they are acquired legitimately. Ini pun sama juga. The fourth one. Don't number 4 is give up accepting gift from tyrant rulers. This is no compromise. My notes there number 9. No compromise. Ada Imam Ghazali mentioned that at length he says some people say you should accept it. If rulers give you gifts, raja bagi duit, raja bagi mak, ambil, dia pun sedekah orang. Imam Ghazali said no way. Even that you should not accept it. Imam Ghazali is very strict on this. Don't accept gifts from rulers, from tyrant rulers, from zalim rulers. Don't accept it. Don't ever think that having that money then to give to the poor. No, you should not do that. Because why? Because he said, and you feel indebted to the rulers and so on and so forth. You can make this one. Okay, as for the 4 things you must do, the first one is that you make your relationship with God exalted such that for a servant of yours to behave thus with him. You be content with him and not weary of liking him nor get angry. Okay, the first thing yang you have to do. Tadi we talk about don'ts and now do's. Things you have to do. The do's. Right? Your relationship with Allah. Imam Ghazali samakan our relationship with Allah macam our relationship with our servant. If you have a servant, what do you want your servant to behave to you? What do you expect of him? Obedient, pleasing to you, content to you, to your liking what he did. Similarly, Allah SWT also wants like that. If you want your servant to obey you, listen to you, do something that pleases you, so Allah SWT also likewise. He wants the same thing. So you can imagine, if you do something that, if you are a servant and if you do something like that to your master won't like it. Similarly, this is just hypothetical, not in real sense. It's just a similitude that Imam Ghazali is trying to give us so that we can have better understanding what is actually our relationship, how we should behave with Allah, how we should behave ourselves to Allah. Kadang-kadang kita tak tahu macam mana nak buat. So whatever pleases Allah SWT, do it. Whatever pleases. What are things pleases Allah SWT? We know the hukum that pleases Allah SWT. The first that pleases Allah Ta'ala is everything that is wajib is pleases to Allah SWT. Whatever commandments that pleases, that Allah commands you to do, the wajib, the fardu. You know, wajib, fardu in our madhab is just the same thing. But in other madhab, they are quite different. Fardu or wajib. Whatever fardu, puasa, semayang, haji, zakat, Allah, whatnot. This pleases Allah SWT. And then sunnah, recommended. Anything that Allah SWT recommends you to do it. This will please Allah SWT. This will please Allah. So you do this one. This is to do. And what pleases Allah Ta'ala? You leave the haram. And you leave the So you leave the haram, you leave the makruh, meaning that you pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As for the sunnah, you make intention that, we have 5 hukum like wajib, sunnah, haram, harus, As for the harus, try to make intention that it is ibadah for you. Try to convert it. All the house will become ibadah. Then you are pleasing also. There are many ways of how the house can become ibadah. You go to work. It's neither wajib or whatever you do. It's not wajib, but it's house. You do it for the sake of Allah, then you please it. And then your relationship with people. The do's number 2 is your relationship with people. We have this in Arabic, we call it hablu min Allah, hablu min al-nas. Your relationship with people. How you should behave with people. How you should behave with people. Imam Al-Ghazali says, you do to people your face is not complete until you love your brothers what you love for yourself. Relationship with people, what you want for yourself. Imam Ghazali said, what you want for yourself. This is a hadith saying, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. Your faith is not complete until you love your brothers, things that you love for yourself. Apa yang kita suka, orang buat terhadap kita, itulah kita buat terhadap orang. Ini kita dalam, we have in English, do to others as you would have them do to you. We have that in English. This is maybe from Bible, but we have that. Do to others just like you want them to do to you. If you don't like people to do bad things to you, don't do bad things to you. Likewise, people also don't like that. Don't do that. Whatever you don't like people to do to you, you don't do that to people. Simple. So this is what Imam says. So, this is very basic, This is very basic. You do good to people what you expect people to do to you. But one more thing, I'm telling you, is higher than this. Where Imam Ghazali doesn't mention it, but I mention it to you because you are of the taqwa people. Maybe you can put this into practice. This is called Isa. Isa in Arabic. Isa is what? Isa means giving preferences of others instead of you. Putting others before yourself. Tadi kita kata sama-sama kan? Kita tak suka dia buat macam ni, kita jangan buat. But this one is higher than that. You sacrifice yourself for other people. You remember the story how there was a case when the Prophet says, I have a guest here with me. Anyone wants to be the host for tonight for my guest? So one Sahabat says, Ya Rasulullah, I'll be the guest. I'll be the host. So he brings the Prophet's guest to his house. And he asked his wife, do we have food? The wife said, no, we don't have food. But I brought the Prophet guest. He said, fine. How much do we have? We just have enough for our family. It's okay, just keep our family again. Get the children sleep. So they make the children sleep, and at night, when we bring out the food, switch off the candles, blow the candle. You know that? Have you heard of the story? So when the night came, when the food came, so he blew the candle, so it was in the dark, so the guest was eating alone, he was pretending that as if he was eating as well. Because the food was not enough. The food was not enough. And you remember what the Prophet says? The next morning when the Prophet met him, he said, I don't know, I can't remember the name of the Sahaba. Allah SWT was happy watching at how you treat my guest last night. Then there was a ayah revealed. وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. He prefers others instead of himself, though he was in deep difficulties. This is called Ithar. This is the level of higher level. Yes, now we are talking about reciprocal, right? You do good, you do what? But this one is higher. I always mention to you that, for example, Adil is doing the same thing, right? This is Adil. But the higher level is called Ihsan. People slap you once, you can slap him once. That is Adil. That is justice. Adil. But if people slap you once and you say, I forgive you, that is Ihsan. You can choose, you want to be Ihsan and you can be Adil. But from this, you see which one is higher, Adil or Ihsan? Ihsan. Okay. You have the right, where if people slap you, you have every right. Islam allows you to slap him back once. This is qisas. Slap him, that's back. But if you say, it's alright, I forgive you, that is the highest of Iman. Similarly like this one also. You do good to people, you leave things good, you expect people to do the same to you. That is at the level of reciprocal Iman. But if you do good to people at the expense of your difficulties, this is Ihsan. This is higher level. You sacrifice yourself. You, for example, you are rushing very hard, you are moving, you are driving car very fast, and you look at people. Someone wants to go out, for example, very difficult. Orang nak keluar kereta payah, kamu corner ke apa ke, kereta tu lalu you observe banyak lagi lah. You pun sibuk juga, tapi you break tidak. This can be also Islam. Sacrifice the day. Dia tidak pakai kereta apa. Yang benda tu tak ada kat Malaysia, kan? Dia pergi kat UK sekejap je, kan? Orang duduk UK provide tu, sekejap. You signal yang masuk kanan je, tak kereta, first kereta tu berhenti. Kat sini you tunggu je lah, dia lah nak bagi. Tak ada bagi kan? Dia tak bagi. Dulu kat kereta kalau cek lagi tak bagi. Kita nak keluar lagi. Tak? That's kind of thing. So whatever things you can do to sacrifice yourself, that's better. So inshallah we finish this one, okay? What else? Last two, seeking spiritual knowledge. Imam Al-Ghazali mentioned about when you seek knowledge that has something to do with your heart. You know, whenever I say that knowledge, last time we talked about divisions of knowledge. Knowledge have, basically you can divide knowledge into two types. One, knowledge about the Creator. Another one is knowledge if you want to divide knowledge very crude, this is knowledge about the Creator, knowledge about the creation. Of all these two knowledge, this knowledge is higher. Because you are talking about the Creator. So that all knowledge about creation is low. Some people don't like it when they say, oh, low medicine, tak penting. No, it's not that penting. It is of the lower degree. It is of the lower degree. It's not that it is not important. It is important. But the most important is the low knowledge about Creator. Macam kita kata badan kita. The most important organs of our body is our heart, our brain. But don't say that this finger is not important or this hand is not important. It is important. But there are degrees. Sometimes we don't know how to do that. We don't know. We think we equalize in this liberal and democracy world. Everything is equal. But by right, the most important, the highest degree of knowledge is knowledge about Creator. So, and of all the knowledge about Creator, you have so many knowledge, so many branches of knowledge you have. Imam Al-Ghazali says, the most important knowledge about your heart. Knowledge about your heart, your spiritual knowledge. So make sure, Imam Al-Ghazali says, whenever you seek knowledge, spiritual knowledge. Because this knowledge will bring you to hereafter. Allah SWT says, through the Prophet SAW, the Prophet says, Inna Allah la yanzuru suwarikum wa la yanzuru ila qulubikum. Allah does not look at your face, your appearances, but He looks at your heart. He looks at your heart. And Imam Al-Ghazali says, supposing that you are going to die soon, what knowledge will you learn? You're going to learn French, Japanese, or you want to learn mathematics, or you want to learn physics. You want to learn knowledge that will save you from the hereafter, right?
Knowledge.
You want, sorry?
Especially knowledge to learn how to love Allah.
Sorry?
Knowledge relating to learning to love Allah.
Yes, love Allah SWT. Knowledge that will make you more longing for Him. Of course, we are not saying that other knowledge is not important. Again, jangan nampak lepas benda ni semua nak jadi ustazah lah. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, this is the degree of knowledge, and be focused or put more emphasis on this knowledge. Okay, last one. Stock up well. This is another issue Imam Ghazali mentions. Imam Ghazali says, the fourth one, you should not stock up more of the world's produce that is adequate for 1 year. You know, sometimes kita kata, why the Prophet says this? Why Imam Ghazali says like this? Imam Ghazali wants, I look at the Sharah, I look at the commentary, why Imam Ghazali wants us not to have this kind of, harta, kumpul banyak. Imam Ghazali doesn't want us to have the feeling of overconfidence of our provisions. He wants us to feel like we are in need of Allah SWT. You know, you bayangkan, if someone who's so rich, you think that he is thankful to Allah, you think that he is thinking that, I'm going to survive tomorrow, I'm going to have something to eat tomorrow, Allah please help me. Imam Ghazali wants us to have that kind of feeling, oh Allah, please help me, oh Allah, I'm in need of you, oh Allah. So Imam Ghazali wants us to have that kind of feeling, longing for Allah SWT, oh Allah, asking for Allah SWT. But if you are a millionaire, I don't know, Allah, you try to ask millionaire, I'm not millionaire. Whether they're really worried about their life or not. Or they feel that, oh, I'm fine, I have 1 million, 2 million this in the exhaust. So Imam Ghazali wants us to have the feeling of attachment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Attaching ourselves in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the thing. But of course, Imam Ghazali, according to this, if you look at the Prophet also, he himself also do not equate the wives. You know, the Prophet has many wives. Some wives are strong. Some wives are not that strong. So some wives, he give more provisions. Maknanya bekalan banyak sikit. Ada yang tak ada banyak. Ada yang ada banyak, ada yang tak ada banyak. Yang strong, tak ada banyak. Contohnya. And when, this kind of thing, we are talking about someone who is perfection, who is at the stage of perfection. Kamal, Akmal, Lil Akmal. We may not be able to do this now. Maybe next time, next 10 years, Allah. We have that feeling of relying completely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the thing. So, finish. So now is the dua. To recite here the dua of Imam Ghazali. We have finished with this. So, you want to tape it also, Azim, or finish it here? Azim? It's already long there. You want to record also? Yes, okay. Okay, fine. So now, O disciple, I have addressed the things you asked for in this discourse, and you must carry them out. And do not forget me in this, to mention me in your devout supplication. So you know that if I'm speaking this, everything alone. So please don't forget to remember me. Someone like him asked you to make dua. You also please make dua for me, okay? Please make dua for me. As for the prayer which you requested from me, so the disciple asked the Imam, the teacher, to give dua for him. What dua? Look for it in among the supplication and collections of authentic tradition, authentic hadith mean. And recite this prayer during all the moments you have, in particular as a supplication after your formal prostration. So this is the dua. If you want to read it, you can read it. You can memorize this dua. This is in Arabic. If you have this book, you can read it. Allahumma inni as'aluka min ni'amatin. You can read it. But I will read it in English. So that we make dua together tonight. Dua that Imam Ghazali says at the end of Ayyuhal. Oh Allah, I beg Thee in regard to grace for its completeness, in regard to protection for its permanence, in regard to mercy for its totality, in regard to well-being for its realization, in regard to livelihood for the most plentiful, in regard to the life for the most happy, in regard to beneficence for the most perfect, in regard to favor for the most inclusive, in regard to generosity for the most sweet, and in regard to gentleness for the most intimate. Oh Allah, be for us and do not be against us. Oh Allah, conclude our lives with happiness and makes our hopes abundantly real. Unite our mornings and evenings in well-being and entrust our destiny and future state to your mercy. Pour the vessel of your forgiveness over our sins. Grant us the corrections of our faults. Make Allah consciousness our provisions and make our exertion to be for your religion, and our trust and our confidence to be in you. O Allah, set us upon the path of righteousness. Protect us in the world from causes of regret on the day of resurrection. Lighten the weight of our sins. Endow us with the way of life of the godly. Restrain us from and avert from us the evil of the wicked, and release our necks and the necks of our fathers, mothers, brothers, and sisters from hellfire by your mercy. Your infinitely precious, your ever forgiving, your bountiful one, your veiler of sins, your omniscient and omnipotent. O God, O Allah, by your mercy, your most merciful of the merciful, your first of all and last of all, your mighty Lord of power, you has mercy on the needy, your most merciful of the merciful. There is no God but you. Glory to you, O Allah. I am a sinner. God bless our Legal Lord Muhammad SAW on his family and companions, and praise belong to God, the Lord of the world. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.